Oopsie, there we go. Welcome everyone to another interview with Will Harvey. Thank you so much, Will, for coming. We have virtual Vikki here, known as Francis7 from there.com. Would you like to say hello, Will?
Great, happy to be here. I'm unusual today in that I'm in a female avatar, but don't let that upset you. Still me.
It's okay. It's okay. So, Will, my first question is, could you give a background about yourself?
Sure. Let's see. So, when when I was in high school, I wrote video games. Not everybody knows this. When I was 14 and 15 years old, I wrote the video game for Electronic Arts, Music Construction Set, which was the first music word processor, and that became kind of a success. And so I went on writing video games through college, and eventually it moved from writing video games to envisioning what it would be like for people to interact just socially online instead of playing a game, and that was the origin of there.
Awesome. That's really cool. Like, what made you decide to create like a video game?
Well, you mean initially stretching way back to music construction sets, say in the early '80s. I actually had written a video game for the Apple II computer that was called Lancaster,
Oh, that's so
and
cool.
yeah, and I wanted to put music in the video game. And I thought the video game was as good as the other video games that were being sold. Um, so in order to get the music in the video game, I didn't actually know how to read music, and so I wrote a music construction set as a tool for myself, so that I could transcribe sheet music that I could buy at a music store uh, to the numbers that a computer could understand and play back
Um,
by essentially
um,
just reproducing
you're a bit
by just
quiet. It says Vicky's saying that you're a bit quiet. I don't know what it is, but
Okay, I'll try again. Is that okay?
yeah, there we go.
Good. Okay. Um, so I wrote the music editor in order to transcribe music from sheet music that I could buy at a computer store to the numbers and so forth that a computer could understand and play back. And that was the origin of music construction set.
Awesome, that's really great. Awesome. Um, my next question is, how did you start there? Like from the beginning.
I started there actually. The idea for there came when I was skiing in Zermatt, Switzerland, and I realized that as I was meeting people and we were interacting socially and you were getting to know each other, that a lot of getting to know people happens when you're doing things together as opposed to just chatting, and as opposed to just typing to each other. So I I envisioned the idea of creating a world in which people could hang out and actually do things together, like going skiing. So an example that was a motivating example was that if you're skiing together, there are many opportunities for people to reveal aspects of their personality that wouldn't come through if you're just if you're just talking. So if one person is adventurous and shoots way ahead, expects the other person to follow, that tells you something about who that person is. Or if a person is chivalrous and always polite and waits and helps the other person, or if you get into trouble and you find out, how you um, how you uh, handle stressful situations. It tells you more about people. So I thought it'd be great if people could do this online, and that was the origin of there.
Oh wow, that's pretty cool. to hear that. Yeah, I was always wondering how you decided to create there. Um, what made you decide to build a virtual world? Like, I know that it wasn't like a everyday business. You know what I mean? Like there must have been something like I guess in your mind that you wanted to create a virtual world.
Well, this was 1997. I want to say about 1997. So it was still early, and there really weren't any successful examples of virtual worlds in 3D that actually were immersive in any sense of the word. So it hadn't been done, um, and that driving vision, though, that experience of interacting with people in the real world by going skiing together was just very compelling. And so I thought, okay, if we could pull this off online, then we're going to have a lot of people enjoy this.
Ah, nice. Um, so was it difficult to create there? Because I heard that you built there in the basement of the house.
Well, we started building there in the basement of my house, and yes, to answer your question, building there was extraordinarily difficult. Um, it took a long time to build, as you no doubt know. The basement of my house is actually not the basement. It was in my bedroom in my parents' house, and we made prototypes for a year just to prove to ourselves that we could create a compelling world that would be fun to be in. Because if we couldn't create a world that was fun to be in, then um, people weren't going to spend any time in that. So we created prototypes to prove that we could do that. And then came the hard part. After we created the prototypes and proved to ourselves that we could create a commodious environment to be in, we then had to build it for real in such a way that it would support hundreds of thousands of simultaneous people and handle the interactions between them and work on other people's computers and deal with distributed systems and physics simulations and so forth. And that was just a tremendously challenging engineering undertaking, which is why it took us about 3 or 4 years before we really were able to come to market with the product.
Yeah, I heard it was very challenging to build there because the physics behind it was like extraordinary, like very difficult, and the movement and going to one place to another without having to teleport, just walking is, I heard it was very difficult to make.
Yeah, it certainly was. And I think that actually may have been a mistake in retrospect, looking at it. We went about this by building a system of simulated physics in a immersive, real-time, massively multi-user environment that was capable of doing extraordinary physics, and that we could take, we could do many, many things in. But it took so long to kind of build that great system that it took us a long time to get to market. And I think if we'd followed a different strategy of starting out with something that was easier to build, but that we could put into users' hands more quickly, and then try to evolve that system to be more complex or to be more powerful as we had more time to develop it with users in the world, then I think we would have been better situated.
Yeah. My next question is, what types of difficulties did you face while developing there? And do you think it was a bit too early for there to be created? And also, do you think it would probably been better off to create there presently, since the technology is very more high-tech now?
Well, that's an interesting question, actually. In retrospect, no. I don't think that it was too early to create there. I'm not going to blame it on being our eventual failure on being too early. I think where we messed up was that we didn't get users involved early enough, and so the company was losing money for a long time, and was never able to kind of get over that hump of losing money to turn it into a company that's making money. And part of the reason for that is that we grew the company to be large, so we had a lot of expenses for a large number of employees, and a lot of continuing, ongoing expense in just running the system and operating the system. So we set a kind of a high bar. We had to get a significant amount of revenue in order to just remain profitable. And if instead we had created a smaller product that was still in kind of in line with getting to the vision of where we wanted to go, then I think there would still be around today.
Now, what were your favorite moments creating there?
Initially, my favorite moments in the first couple of years of there were moments where things would happen in the world that would just surprise you and put a huge smile on your face. We had, for example, a pet dog in early prototypes of there, and you would throw the dog the frisbee, and sometimes it would go and catch the frisbee in the air, and sometimes it would just sit there and kind of look at you and blink its eyes. It was very much like a real dog. You know, it didn't always do what you want. So
Yeah.
we would try things like sometimes throwing the frisbee into the lake, and the dog would run out there and jump in the lake. And we're like, oh, that's cool. It really does that. So we had those first experiences of not really knowing what would happen if you tried something new. And that was a very engaging experience.
That's pretty cool. Did you ever think about like creating like a real life dog where like it would go to the bathroom and I guess it would like do like a normal dog would do? Like, did you ever thought about doing like something like that?
Well, sure. You know, with pretty much everything in there, we had in mind kind of distilling out of all of the things that, all of the aspects of the object or pet or thing in the real world, distilling out just the most interesting ones and keeping those. So, you know, if dogs going to the bathroom and peeing were something that is kind of essential and fun about, you know, dogness, then it's in. If it's extra and just annoying, then it's out. And so, you know, we tried to prioritize things when we looked at creating objects about what was most cool about them and do those things first with kind of a mind that we would get to the lesser important things eventually.
Yeah, no, I was just saying, like, because, you know, I mean, it'd be pretty funny just to see, like, the dog is actually, like, looking, like going to the bathroom. I thought that would be pretty funny to see that.
Yeah, no doubt. And if your dog was, if you're taking your dog on a walk and your dog saw a tree or a fire hydrant and kind of pulled on its leash and dragged you over to the fire hydrant so it could go to the bathroom, that would certainly bring a smile to your face.
Hey, at least they're doing it outside and not inside the house.
Right.
Because I go through that every day in my house. My dog loves to just use the bathroom in my house instead of outside. So, what were there anything that you were creating that never got released? Okay.
Yeah, absolutely. We you know, I think it's one of my biggest disappointments in there. We had created something called BlockSkit that was an absolutely extraordinary Lego-like tool that allowed you to build houses and roller coasters and miniature golf courses and race car tracks with stuff that worked. I mean, like the roller coaster, you could get in the roller coaster and the roller coaster would do loops and it would go over jumps, and it was just incredibly fun. And we didn't ever get to ship that. So we ran some beta tests, and some users enjoyed the beta tests, but we never got to ship it. And I think it's probably my greatest disappointment.
Yeah, I heard it was very good. I didn't join there until like when Coke Studios was closed and Coca-Cola moved their avatars over to there.com for promotions. What was the reason why that they couldn't release it to the public?
Well, it was a long time ago. I can't remember. I can't remember the details of the reasons. I think we were struggling as a company, and we had lots of different people who had different visions about the direction that the company should go, and that made it hard for us to execute well as a business. So, I think that there were a variety of ideas that we had. We had incredibly smart people in the company and very talented employees, some of the things that we did we shipped, and others of the things that we did kind of got caught up in people trying to agree with each other, and unfortunately the Blocks Kid things fell in the latter category.
Yeah, it was a shame not seeing that to be released, because I probably would have seen, like Virtual Vikki said that he enjoyed it. I bet many users would love to see that.
Yeah, but startups are hard, and you just got to keep moving forward.
Yeah, that's definitely true. So my next question is, what was it like working with Jeffrey and the staff crew?
With Jeffrey Ventrella and who?
Yeah, and a staff crew that you were working with, like Matt, Danzig, Don, and the other staff people.
Oh, with Jeffrey and with Matt Danzig and with Don Carson. What a delight. All of those people that you mentioned are incredibly talented. Jeffrey has an ability like nobody else in the world to look at something and capture the essence of what makes that thing cool. So if you look at he looks at a dog, and if all he has is a wireframe, if he's just going to do a prototype with some lines or some wireframe images, that dog is going to be really cool. Matt Danzig has a sense of humor like nobody you would ever believe. He's hilarious.
Oh, yeah, that's definitely true.
And that comes through in just some charm in his art direction that is phenomenal. And Don Carson is one of the most talented environmental designers for virtual environments probably in the world. Of course, he came from Disneyland, where he designed Splash Mountain, and he was the lead show designer for Splash Mountain, and also
so cool.
contributed to some of the other attractions there. Very, very talented guy in creating a virtual environment that where the design of the environment kind of leads you through a story.
Yeah. I heard some, when I was doing their interviews, I heard wonderful things about you. They told me some stories, like, I'm not sure if you were there with the fishing trip, and I guess, what's it called, go-kart, like, racing inside the office, and some other stories as well. I'm not sure if you remember that.
Yeah, I mean, we had a good time. We're a group of very dedicated people, and when you're working 20 hours a day and sleeping at the office under the desk sometimes. You get a little punchy sometimes, and of course, you're going to come up with stories that you all remember.
Yeah, yeah, that is definitely true. My next question is, what was your goal for there?
Well,
Whoops, I think we lost you.
here I am. All right, can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, my goal for there um, was an ambitious goal. In fact, um, yeah, I won't ever be criticized for not setting the sights high enough with ambition. Basically, if you close your eyes and you imagine people socializing 20 years from now with each other, so think about how fast computers are and how amazing computer games are and virtual worlds and so forth today compared to 10 years ago or even 5 years ago. And then extrapolate that forward to 5 years from now, 10 years from now, 15 years from now, 20 years from now. 20 years from now, if you just imagine what it's going to be like, it's really hard not to believe that people are going to be interacting with each other, doing things together virtually, and spending a great deal of their life in a simulated environment. And so with there, the ambition was to create the world that would be the kind of the operating system or the place for all of people's virtual online activities to take place in.
Ah, I see. Yeah, it was interesting, like how you were able to meet other people like all over the country. You know what I mean? Like I would probably say the Philippines to Europe to I guess Canada and like all over the country. Like came to this one place, and you get to meet different cultures and nationality with it as well. It's like going in like it's like going somewhere in real life, going to like I guess to a diner. Like think of it as like the United States in a way, where you gain different nationalities, different cultures, religions, everything. It was pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, that's the vision, and I think that's going to change the world because it basically removes the geographical barriers between different cultures, so that you can learn other languages in immersive environments and find out what it's to be like with other people from other cultures. I think it's just a fascinating idea. Couple that also with the idea that you can explore aspects of your own personality and identity that are hard to do in the real world. So here I am dressed in a female avatar, and when I interact with people as a female avatar, it feels different, right? I mean, it's kind of weird. I'm a guy, but I'm within a female avatar, and and it's just kind of interesting. So you get to, and I could never do that in the real world. I mean, I suppose I could dress and drag and try to make myself look like a woman to see what that would be like, but that would be kind of weird. I'm not going to go that far. It's weird enough just using a female avatar. So, you don't get that opportunity in the real world.
Yeah, yeah, that is, well, you could like it will cost a lot of money involved, but yeah, it is pretty interesting to see. What was your favorite place to hang out in there? Like, what did you like to do when there, I guess, was like open to the public?
I like to explore. So I like to go to where other people kind of aren't, and then if just to get in a dune buggy or a jetpack or something, and zoom or fly out into a remote area, and then see if I find anybody out there. It makes for an interesting kind of conversation.
Yeah, actually, I think my favorite part of all there wasn't just really meeting the people, but like you could take your vehicle and just drive. You know what I mean? Just like drive. Don't care like where you go, but drive and like just you know what I mean. You don't need to worry about like in the second like wait you need to teleport to a location. You could just drive to one island to another without having to worry about anything else. And I think that was probably the most amazing thing that was created, and I wish maybe in the future one virtual world would actually try to make something like that where you're able to do that without having to worry about teleporting to another place at all.
Yeah, actually, you put your finger on something that was very unique about there, the fact that it was a one large, contiguous, um, physically simulated uh, virtual world where you can go any place smoothly. Um, that was very, very difficult to do, and it was very important to us at the beginning. So that was one of our design principles. The world of there is a sphere about, uh, gosh, I can't even remember now. It was either about the size of the moon or the size of the Earth. I can't remember exactly, but it was big.
Yeah, it's supposed to be like
And,
the size of the Earth. If
okay.
I'm before, I have a picture of it, so I could always send you.
Great. Yeah. Well, uh, you know, it was. There's something special about uh, the physical world, about the fact that the world, the Earth, is finite. It's not infinite. You could fly around the world, and you have different cultures and different places and different countries, separated by oceans. Um, the texture of living on a planet like this is something that we wanted to capture in there. So, we put a lot of effort into making sure that our technology would support seamless handovers when you drove your dune buggy from a region of the Earth that was being managed by one server into a region of the Earth being managed by another server. That all would happen automatically kind of behind the scenes, and it's a very complex thing. I mean, just imagine when you drive down the freeway and you're talking with somebody on their cell phone. Your cell phone has to the carriers have to hand over your call from one tower to another tower if you drive far enough. And, even sometimes you get dropped calls. So people, anybody who's talked on a cell phone while driving is familiar with with the concept, because you use it every day of handing over from one server to another. But imagine how much harder it is to hand over something in a virtually simulated environment than just a phone call. A phone call is easy. Imagine if instead of the phone call, you are driving a dune buggy with your friend also in the dune buggy, and you're shooting out the window of the dune buggy with your paint gun at a dog that is chasing after the dune buggy. All that could happen in there, and you could be doing that at the point in time that you crossed over a invisible boundary between one region of the world served by one server and another. And the servers would have to manage the handover of that very complex configuration of different objects from one to the other without having, the one person fall out of the Jeep, or the Jeep crash, or the gun slip back in its holster, or anything like that. A very, very difficult problem that it's easy to take for granted just because you can drive.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's probably that. It is very unique to definitely see that at all. It's like most virtual worlds, you couldn't even do that at all. Yeah, it definitely did though. Like, I remember I was doing a cross country race with CCR Gina, which was known as Emma, and there, and every day I would take my buggy. Well, not every day, but it would be like, I guess once in a blue moon, whenever I got a chance to take my buggy with a group of friends and just travel across the server boundaries. You know what I mean? And there was times like the screen would go black for a moment, but you know what I mean, that was normal. It's just like a drop call. It's just reconnecting, and it was actually pretty cool.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, it was very smooth. Yeah, that is definitely true. Uh, why did you decide to leave there? Okay.
Um, well, initially I left there to write the BlocksKit program because it was something that I thought was very important for making there better. I thought it was what the world was missing. It was really missing the ability to, well, in my view, it was missing the ability for people to create interesting things so that every time you logged into the world, there'd be a lot of new stuff there that was created by other people. Um, and that, so it was difficult for us to kind of build that project inside the company because not everybody had the same kind of vision or opinion about what was important. And
Whoops, we lost you.
I felt strongly enough about that uh, that I left the company uh, to build that product. Um, and so that's initially why I left there. And then we built BlocksKit, and it came out really well. It came out phenomenally. But by the time we were done with it, the people who were running the company, running there at that time, um, had a different vision about what was important than I did and my group, and so we didn't really see eye to eye, uh, and so they made the decision not to ship that product. And at that point, I, I realized that I wasn't helping anymore. I was trying to help. I was trying to use everything in my power, all of my abilities, and invest my own money and everything in adding the features to there that I thought it needed. Um, so I tried really hard, uh, but it's not just the task is not just building the products. It's also getting everybody to agree that that's what's important. And I didn't succeed in that other half. I just succeeded in building the product. So when I kind of realized that the task was bigger than just building the product, and that I wasn't doing a very good job on convincing everybody of how important it was, then I finally accepted that I wasn't really able to help. I wasn't really able to contribute, and so that's when I decided to leave there for good.
Mm. I'm very sorry to hear that they weren't, I guess, respecting what you really wanted and what you were trying to implement. Because they should have known that, like, they do know that you created there, you were the main founder, and they should have listened to you more than, I guess, anything else. Because I think it should go by what the founder wants. Because the whole point of, what I mean, what you wanted was to vision, like, an excellent social virtual world.
Uh, well, thank you for saying that. That was certainly my opinion.
I think
um,
that they were really stupid because, once you left, I think their really, like, fell down because later on, and you were aware of when Black Friday came along, they lost amazing staff members, probably the best staff members, and what I mean, even though Michael Wilson was able to keep it long enough, which I'm very grateful and thanking Michael for keeping it long, I think if they probably kept you longer, they would probably see it better there now. I think they would probably have been still around maybe if they would have kept you long enough.
well, it's hard to say. There were a lot of talented people, and, and startups are hard. It's really hard to get everybody to agree on the direction you want to go. It was especially hard at there, and I'll tell you why. It's because the vision for there was so all-encompassing. It was just such a grand vision to create, the virtual world for
Speak up a little bit.
for the rest of time, right?
Yeah.
It was such a grand vision that everybody has opinions about what that grand vision ought to look like. So, I think that to really succeed at building something like a virtual world, you have to find a way to allow each person in the company, all of the employees, all of the engineers, all of the designers, everybody in the company to contribute to what makes the world great in their own way. Because each person has something, has their own ideas, and it's not one or the other. Everybody has something to contribute. And so I think you need to have a company with a culture that really embraces the contributions of all of the employees and of all of the users.
Yeah.
That's what it would have taken for there to be successful, and I think that's what it will take for any of the successors to be successful.
Yeah, were some amazing words that you just said, and hopefully those who are in developing a virtual environment or anything really pretty much that has to do with consumers, hopefully they would understand what the main goal is to really have.
Yeah.
Now, my next question is, what do you think, in order for there to continue to run, what do you think there needs to do in order to continue to run, to be a little bit more successful than it was?
If you mean what did there.com need to do in order to not go out of business?
Yeah.
If that was the question.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, ultimately, a company goes out of business when it runs out of money, right?
Yeah, that's true.
And so, yeah, I think that as entrepreneurs, we didn't do everything right with there. Basically, we were so captivated by the ultimate vision of what we were going to build, and so absolutely certain of the eventual success of that vision that we weren't as concerned as we needed to be in the beginning about being successful as a business in the early stages, because we would just close our eyes and imagine how great it was going to be when we were eventually successful. Well, so now, with a little more experience under my belt as an entrepreneur, I'm pretty sure that's not the right way to go about things. If you're going to build a successful company, you have to earn the right to be successful later by being successful earlier. And we didn't understand that when we built there.
I see what you're saying. Thanks for telling us that. My next question is, what made you decide to build InView?
Well, InView is a different vision from there, actually. Whereas there, as I described, the vision was creating a place for people to interact with each other by doing things together in a virtual world that 20 years from now they would be spending all of their time in. InView's vision was to create a lighter weight, easier, simpler to understand way for people to interact in bite-sized in bite-sized pieces, so that uh, you could get together with your friends and hang out for 5 minutes or 10 minutes or an hour, and it wasn't as that didn't require you and your friends to have a house and a car and a job and an entire virtual life in the virtual environment. You could just pop in and pop out. So at the time, the closest thing to that experience for people to interact with online was instant messaging, because you could just start up an IM, chat for a little bit, and then pop out. You're done. So when InView started, we had the vision of kind of taking the paradigm of instant messaging, a buddy list, and clicking on your friend's name, and pow, you're in a virtual chat with your friends, and making that 3D and interactive, but still simple. That, incidentally, is why InView is called InView, IMVU, the instant messaging. The IM is to kind of connect the product and the company with the paradigm of instant messaging, which people understood at the time.
That was pretty funny, because I was just going to ask you what InView stands for. You just read my mind.
Yeah, it doesn't stand for anything, except for the first two letters were for instant messaging. I can say that, I think, in an official capacity. We have heard from users that it's a pretty good acronym for instant messaging virtual universe. So
that's actually pretty good.
Yeah, so that sounds okay to me, but it wasn't our idea. That was the idea of some of the clever users. Another follow-up question that you may want to ask, or that I may want to answer in advance by reading your mind, is the company's name InView or IMVU or IMView? I've heard all of these.
Yeah.
And the actual answer is, initially it was InView. InView, not IMView, not IMView, but just InView.
Okay.
So
yeah,
that's how it started out. Though, just as a point of clarification, I would get lots of, as the CEO of the company, I was describing the company to people over the phone a lot, and it was hard to say InView on the phone to somebody who wasn't familiar with it, and to get the person to recognize the word that I was actually saying. I would say, this is Will Harvey from InView, and they say, well, can you spell that? Yes, sir, IMVU. And they're like, I envy you? No. I'm like, well, that's a good that's a good name, but that's not the name of the company. And we go back and forth. So after enough of those experiences, I became pretty flexible on allowing people to call the company anything they wanted, with one exception. There's only one pronunciation that I don't like, which is IMVU. Kind of IMVOO. I think that sounds ugly, but that's just my personal opinion.
Well, unless they're foreigners, then it's probably a little bit different.
Yeah, that's a point.
So, there we go. What do you? Sorry about that. I hate clicking. Do you still currently work for InView, or did you retire from with InView?
I'm still on the board of InView, and so I still have an active interest in the company, and I'm talking to the management on a regular basis. But I'm don't have an operational role, so I just have the role as board member at this point.
There we go. So you're not like working like on any projects or anything like that?
No, I'm not working on any projects for InView. My experience on at there.com of working on the block skip project kind of from the outside, helped me to appreciate um, how challenging it is to work on something on the outside and then to kind of bring it back and have everybody who's working away on the inside think that that you're helping. So I wasn't
Yeah.
going to try that again. That was just too hard. Um, I do. So I am on a full-time basis now. I'm running a company called Finale Fireworks.
Oh, cool. What is that
Dot
about?
com. And finalefireworks.com, if you go to the website, www.finalefireworks.com, it is the product allows you to design fireworks displays like you see on the 4th of July virtually on your computer. And if you are a professional, then you can design fireworks displays on your computer and actually have the program output the scripts and information for shooting off that show in real life. And if you are just a virtual pyro or just a person who likes to play games, then you can just play around with the program and design fireworks shows for the fun of it. And it actually is a lot of fun.
That's actually really cool to hear. Yeah, I'm actually currently on the website, and I see, I guess, a sample of the work that you put in, and it looks outstanding. And for those who have free time, definitely check it out. It does look outstanding, and I think your work has paid off. Like, I mean, everything that you've done, building InView, building there, you know what I mean? You've really done a fabulous job, and I think everyone is very appreciated about it.
Wow, thank you very much. That's really motivational and heartwarming for me to hear. I
Definitely, yeah.
really appreciate that. Um, to your point on checking out finalefireworks.com, um, it's you can download the program for free. There's a free trial, so anybody who sees this interview, could probably have some fun. You just can't save, but you can still just check it out. It's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And then if you just go to the website, if you don't even want to download or try anything, go to the website, and then on the right side, kind of the lower right, there are a bunch of videos that show side by side a virtual show that a person designed, and then right next to that, the video shows in parallel the real show as it was shot off in the real world. So this last 4th of July, there were hundreds of shows all around the world that had been designed using Finale Fireworks. And a lot of the people who shot off these shows would send me videos of what their show looked like in the real world, which we can then compare to the videos of the simulation. And
Oh, that's so
so
cool.
it's actually pretty incredible to look at those, to click on those videos. Definitely click full screen and turn the sound on, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. I also was wondering regarding about with there. Was it really hard, like building there on Windows? Like would it probably been like a bit easier with Macs or Linux?
Every computer system has, uh, its idiosyncrasies. Windows, the Windows, the difficulty with Windows is that um, there are a lot of different configurations of computer hardware, and especially 3D video cards, and that was even more important and more difficult at the time that we started there because software rendering was just too slow. Um, So the the hardest part about Windows is making a program that works on everybody's computer, uh, and that would have been easier on the Mac, but not as many people have Macs, especially then.
Yeah, probably like in the beginning, Macs weren't really fully popular like until now. You know what I mean? Like a couple years ago, I think more people are deciding to move over to Macs because I think it's probably more user friendly, and also you don't need to worry about like viruses, spyware, those type of things.
Yeah, that's all true.
Yeah. Now I asked a couple of members to send in some questions and uh, for you regarding about there. It's like I think it's like 3 or 4 questions as a couple of members asked.
Great.
Okay, so my first question is from um, Dreamweaver. She said, just want to let you know it was nice to meet you when we had our first real life gathering, and then going to the meeting we had when Interviewee was first being created. I'd like to see you do more worlds. You're a genius, and miss you.
Oh, that's so wonderful to hear. Dreamweaver, thank you very much. You know, your name sticks out as one of the small set of people's names of wonderfully contributing users that I remember. So thank you for your participation. Um, and you know, the the vision of virtual worlds that people interact with is, you know, inside the close your eyes and imagine 20 years from now vision is still out there, hasn't been achieved yet, and um, you know, I'm still thinking about it.
That's cool. Let's hope you do make some more virtual worlds, or you know, what I mean, try to implement some stuff that you wish you had were able to do in there and bring it in here, because you know, what I mean, now you're more controlling probably in India than you were in there.
Um, yeah, well, you know, it'll be interesting to see how things develop. There, of course, are the massively multiplayer games like World of Warcraft that at least I guess I should that's something of a standout by itself and how successful it's been. But it's possible that the massively multiplayer games like World of Warcraft will kind of lead to the vision of virtual worlds, or it's possible that um, the kind of pure play virtual worlds like There.com or Second Life uh, that um, are built kind of in direct line toward that ultimate vision. It's possible they're going to be the path that gets to it, and it's also possible that that Imview or something like Imview, which is, you know, today a lighter weight, uh, easier to use but not as deep a place with as many things to do. It's possible that that will get there. So it's you know, the answer of what kind of company is going to be the company that
Did we lose you?
No, I'm still here.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I don't know why I just heard silence for a moment. Okay. My next question is from Sod, Soede. Sorry, Sod. I think it's Sod, Sod, C. I don't know. Sorry about that. And she asked, what was your biggest regrets and favorite parts about there? Which I think you did specify about favorites, like mostly likely regrets. Pretty much, I guess you could answer that. And also, did you ever come back to there and visit after you moved on? And what places did you visit?
Oh, great question. Well, so the regrets, I think I mentioned earlier, I was really disappointed that I wasn't able to get BlocksKit incorporated into the world, because I thought that would, um, I thought that would really help. So, on a, on one level, my biggest regret was that we didn't get that product shipped. Uh, At a higher level, of course, my biggest regret is that they ultimately went out of business. That's a huge regret. You can't even imagine how many people dedicated so much of their lives to building that company and that product and that vision. So to have that ultimately kind of go out of business is just sad. So that's definitely the biggest regret.
Yeah. What about like, did you ever visit there after you left?
No, not so much. The the BlocksKit experience was one where we were just passionately trying to build what we thought would help, and then when um, when it didn't help, we just kind of realized that we'd done everything that we can. So it was time to move on and leave there in the hands of the people who are running the company. Um, and so going back and interacting too much when other people are running the company, probably just wouldn't have helped a whole lot. So no, once we decided to move on, we pretty much made a clean break.
Okay. I think that's probably it, since we're probably definitely running out of time. I definitely like to thank you, Will, definitely so much. You've really done an outstanding job with there, and I think, I'm very upset to see that they're closed, since it was pretty much like your baby, like your child, and you put so much effort, your staff, you all done a wonderful job with it, and we are definitely most happy that you were able to create there, because I would not have so many amazing people, and you've really paid your work out. You know what I mean? You've done so much, and we are all very grateful for you developing there.
Wow. Well, again, thank you very much. That's incredibly gratifying to hear, and very motivational. So I'll keep working.
Definitely. All right, everyone, have a wonderful day, and hopefully coming around soon. We will be taking a bit of a break with the interview, and hopefully something new may come up, and just stay tuned on my Facebook page, Therian Memorial, and also Virtual Fans News, and as well, TheriansForever.webs.com. All right, take care, everyone.